Hello, everyone. Welcome to this recording for Premium Pricing Labs. I know everyone is busy. I want to make this recording so that you can have it no matter what time, what day. You get the time to sit and go through it. This has clearly helped a lot of business owners in the past, and my hope today is that you take away something that will help you in terms of not just theory but to implement it. And maybe there are small tweaks that you probably haven't thought of, because a lot of business owners, from what I've noticed over the years, just overlook some of these small things that are just right in front of them. And that creates a cycle of undercharging and over delivering and having this burnout cycle for long periods of time. So my goal here is to give you a few frameworks, go through the most common like internal things. Yeah, my goal here is like to give a few frameworks, show you the pricing model, give you an example, and hopefully that's quick. But I think that's the thing that's going to take a little bit of time. Give you different value lens through which you can see how you can price, what are some of the things that can be included, then go through some of our own internal narratives that's keeping us, or the resistance that we have internally, just out of fear, out of the fear of losing clients. And my goal is to give you something of value, and I hope that you can give me feedback in terms of Q&A for anything that I haven't covered or something that's more specific to your business. Okay. Now, again, my goal here is to prevent you from going through the cycle of undercharging. I've been there. I've also fallen victim to it years ago when that first happened, and I don't want to be in that stage of undercharging and going above and beyond for long periods of time. And it really affects the quality of life, the kind of clients we find, and anything else that goes with being in business. Now, how do you currently set your prices? I would like to know. Just take a minute, since this is more of a recording. Typically, I would be asking, like, how do you currently set your prices? Is it by um, looking at competition, how many hours you spend on the project? Um, for e-commerce clients, usually is it the cost of goods plus a little bit of profit? How exactly are we setting our prices? What is the logic behind it? Because there is no hard and fast rules on how any of the products or services are supposed to be priced. So how are we coming up with our own templates and the way we think about pricing? So take a minute or pause for a second to write down some of the things that you're currently doing to set your prices. Okay. Now imagine if you're going to double our prices. What doors would that open for you? Typically, I would be asking if we are seeing face to face or through a Zoom call to go through some of these things in the chat, in the discussion sessions. But in this case, you can just pause and think about what it would do for you. Would it buy you more freedom? Would it get you more time? Would it get you more time? Um, would it help you pick out better clients? You don't feel like you feel pushed or you punish yourself to get a certain kind of clients and feel the need to like uh, serve them even if they're not exactly helping you move you towards your goals. Does it buy you more ad spend? Does it give you more money to go um, like do whatever you want? Okay. Now that we are done with that, I want you to hold on to those thoughts, and then now we will go through how this pricing framework works. Um, For this, I'm going to take you through an example of how airlines or airline model price. Just please bear with me as we go through this, because this example, once it makes sense, it will be much easier to understand what are some of the levers that we can pull on in order to make more profits than what we are already currently charging. So think about it as a flight that's going from New York to London, and they have to be profitable. In order to make those profits, what exactly are they doing? Okay, um, so we'll be going through that exercise, and we know first of all that they have to, in order to go from New York to London, they have certain fixed cost. You pay these no matter what. There is a fuel cost, the salaries, um, the things that you need to pay for, like staying in the airport, the admin cost, in-flight services, meals, um, the flight insurance, maintenance, stuff like that. So that would be just the baseline of how much they have to come up with in order to make their profits. Sorry, to cover their cost. Now, um, how would we, if we were to think about this, make this trip profitable? So I want to take a minute to go through some of the things that airlines try to sell us in order to make this trip profitable, because it's just one destination, which is going from New York to London. And some of the things that they sell us is, so let's go through it. We have seats, we have priority lanes, baggages, meals, Wi-Fi. Then there's the cancellation fee. Then you have different kinds of upgrades. You can buy miles. You can do status upgrades. They try to sell you credit cards in order to get your miles, get your points. Um, and what else do they give you? They give you, yeah, you get a fast track. You can go through priority security line for a fee. If you can be the first one to board and the first one to leave the plane. Um, yeah, they also charge you if you cancel. And if you want to secure your spot, they have like the refundable, non-refundable option. So then there is the change and cancellation fees. So these are some of the things that we know of. Now, how about some of the things that it's not very apparent, but it is there. It is there in the background that they are charging. So with this itself, from the previous things itself, to some degree, they can cover some of the costs that we were previously talking about. Um, that involves their fixed cost, right? Um, Now, let's go through some of the other stuff that they do. Um, they have certain fare buckets. So they ask you to pick your economy, business, premium. Then sometimes if you want to book it last minute versus if you book it 6 months in advance, then you get a different kind of price. When you try to go in June, July, or December months, there is a different kind of seasonal price. So advanced purchase, dynamic pricing, like people try to get it on a Tuesday so that they can avoid um, the extra fees and costs that comes with trying to buy during peak hours. Um, there's that. Then they have their discounts, their loyalty programs, the routes that you fly. If you're going through a long distance red eye flight or weekends or weekdays, there's a different kind of cost to that. So basically, excuse me, they're trying to get you to buy like the basic ticket, and then everything else is an upgrade. If you can notice that, you can understand how they're trying to put us into different buckets so that we will self-select and decide what is important to us. And notice the next slide is very important, because we're going to the same destination. Everyone is going from point A to point B, but they have 300 different kinds of pricing in order to make that trip not just cover their base cost, but cover everything above that. It's the same destination, same metal tube, same destination, but very different version of value. And that's very intentional, because they're trying to get us to identify, it's kind of like running an auction system, and they're trying to get us to identify how much we have the capacity to pay and what is important to us. Yeah, we can stay cramped in an economy seat class, and maybe you won't like the experience, but we're still going from point A to point B. Or you can have like the $10,000 suite where you have like almost as a room. Like I know very few flights offer that. Emirates offer that, but you're basically having a room in a flight. and that starts anywhere around 10K, and most people can't exactly afford it. Most companies also, um, and I guess most companies would be the ones who would be affording or actually getting those tickets. But yeah, that is the other way they're making their profits, right? So they're trying to make profit off of for trying to find the right customers in order to pay for any variation of value or comfort that we as customers want. But it doesn't change anything. You still get to London no matter what. So here I've shown a few examples of the pricing for if they were going through basic economy. This will get you from point A to point B. Then the economy also gets you from point A to point B, but you'll have a little bit of a spacious seat. Further up you go, the more spacious it gets. So basically, they're trying to identify who's the high value customers, who values their time, who values priority access, who wants to get in and out of flights sooner, who really have to get from point A to point B. If you are doing a sales meeting on Monday and you have to get to Chicago, or like, sorry, you have to get to this place from New York to London, you will pay probably that $10,000 flight seat. It probably won't be a huge deal for you if you're probably going to close maybe 200K worth of clients or deals. So for them, it's a different offer entirely, and they don't mind dropping that $10,000. So if what I'm trying to get home through this points is like airlines are not selling a seat; they're selling a menu. They're trying to get us to self-identify and figure out who exactly is the best buyer and what price they're willing to pay. So the value really depends on the buyers. Now let's go through the pricing frameworks that I promised. So we're going to design our profit levers to identify our own kind of customers. And yes, I know a lot of people start saying things about like, oh, I had this old customer for really long periods of time. We'll address all those questions. We'll address everything. Oh, the amount of hours you worked, all those things we'll be addressing as we go forward. Now, for the next one, like I said, we are going to be trying to figure out who's our good clients, the better clients, and the best clients. And we are going to create a different menu for each of them. So we're going to design our high value customer, like the highest value customers. We're going to design them from scratch so that we can give them an exclusive menu with all the perks, all the things that we add on extra, all the things that we are not getting compensated for. A lot of people, like designers, who has a scope creep. If you're a freelancer, this is one of the most common things I hear. You're giving in extra hours. The client wants to change things up midway through the project, and that's not accounted for. And I want us to start thinking about all those things that we are doing, ancillary things that we are doing, so we can design this high value customer profile and persona so that we can start charging the place in the places that we are not getting compensated for, maybe. So here are some of the things that we need to think about when designing things. So if any concept out of this whole thing you need to take away, it's the concept of anchoring. This is the lens through which your customers sees everything else you design. This is the one that tells them that you are I mean, it will self-identify them as the person who wants to either pay the premium price, the good price, or the best. The lower price, the good and the best, the great, good, and the best. So we'll see how. And the thing is, once you see this, you will start seeing it everywhere. The problem with today's presentation is once you understand these concepts and can at least take away one thing from it, you will start seeing this priced everywhere. Most of the companies use it. Most of the things that we engage with on a daily basis, everything from McDonald's to Starbucks to movie theaters to flights, uses this method. And the thing is, if we are not using it, we are leaving money on the table. So let's start with Apple, since we all love how our Apple products. I'm making this presentation from my Apple product, and I love them. I've been their customers for years. For years. So let's see their iPad. Their iPad is not just one offering. They're giving you four different offerings, starting from a mini to the Pro. And have you noticed something? They always will start, and Apple is the best place to study any kind of pricing levers, very frankly, that would be the place I would start, because they have really thought through not just their design process, but they have really thought through how to design those different customer segments. So they always start by showing you the highest, the best offering they have, which is their pro model. And the pro model starts with they're also using a few psychological concepts here, where they're trying to make this installment more, I guess, palatable. But they are starting with the Pro and then going down to the iPad Mini. So it's starting from close to $1,000 to $500. So they're giving you a range, and the person who can afford the $500 will be going for the iPad Mini, and the person who's like, I need this, I use this every day, I take this, I take my iPad with me everywhere. Just like for me, my laptop, I take it with me everywhere to some degree. And I do a lot of work in that, so I will need probably the much advanced version. And we are self-identifying ourselves as the customer who will be picking one or the other. Let's say you want it to be more functional. So you will see the first price shapes perception. That's what they're anchoring. They're anchoring you with saying that, yeah, this is not a cheap product. This is not something you just take with you or it's portable. I want you to see our iPads also as $1,000 product. Remember the days when there was only one kind of design for iPod, iPhone. Now we have so many offering, and it's not by accident. They know this concept really well, and they're using a lot of psychological framing to get you to think of their product, think of their pricing, thinking of their the kind of market they're going after, by using this concept of anchoring. Okay, so have you seen this where they cross off a certain price, and if you just saw the $500 as a price, you probably won't know what to compare it to. You always want to create contrast. So that's what anchoring does for you. It creates a contrast of like, okay, this is a really good offer because it starts at $1,000 and I'm giving it for 500, so it's a steal, and that shapes the perception of the buyer. And again, that helps you identify who's a good buyer and who's not a good buyer. Same way with anchoring, if you have seen, and a lot of SaaS business owners would understand this a lot more, and would get a lot of value out of this, because um, this is targeting three different audience. If I were to design or start anywhere, it would be kind of like a SaaS business, giving my offering, showing all of my, I guess, benefits, and getting them to self-identify. So you start at $55 and go all the way to $155. And notice they also give you, this is the recommended product, the most popular product, the one they suggest that you buy. So I mean, obviously it's profitable for them, and it's even profitable if you keep coming back. But they'll give you the most options, the most benefits in this tier, and they keep taking away those options the further down you go. And for enterprise, it's a whole different thing. Basically, like there's a lot more nuances to that, and we won't be covering that. That will be quite out of scope for today's presentation. But there is a whole different nuanced way of like timing and stuff, and the pricing would be very different. But they also probably definitely will benefit from getting a menu designed for different businesses. And it's a different methodology to some degree, so we won't be covering that. But notice, if you're selling for B2C clients, this would be the best way to go about it. And Zendesk is probably selling still B2B, and still this is one of the best ways to go about designing your pricing menu. If you want to start somewhere, start with Apple or start with some SaaS software products, instead of because I've seen this mistake with a lot of business owners, where they go and start pricing things based off of their competition or what they are seeing, and or the hours they have worked. And those are not the things we should be looking, because like I said, you'd be leaving a lot of money on the table if you're not at least giving them a menu and starting to take away options or start to add options in order to make it more valuable. And there might be a lot of free things that you're giving and offering that you don't even realize is quite valuable to the customer. It may not be much for you. It may not even cost you a lot. It may just be things that gives them peace of mind. For example, in this plan, if I offer them, what do you call this, guarantees. If I give them that we will give you 24-hour service to take care of your any needs you may have. So you're giving them customer support for 24 hours, and the further down you go, you don't give them that. That would be quite valuable. if you give them like a risk-free offer in the higher tiers, people will pick this over taking something that they don't want to risk losing their money over. So it's that risk aversion, a concept that comes into play. Also, menus do this. That's how a lot of restaurants show, excuse me, the pricing of something really high to show that um, they are capable of giving you really premium options. So everything else will look. When you see a $158 meal versus a 45, 35, $36 meal, this wouldn't be a big issue to you, right? So it's really there. It's probably the decoy offer to get others to consider all the like middle of the line option. Now, now we've talked about the concept of anchoring itself, which will help you with pricing, but I want to talk a little bit about clients because I'm sure whoever is watching this presentation have clients also who are probably um, troublesome or really great clients who doesn't say anything, who probably just like once they see the value in your product or your service, they're like, okay, that's it, I'm just going to get it. And how are we going to price for them? First, let's identify those clients or customers. There are the low value clients, which are the price sensitive clients. This is the place where I see a lot of people getting stuck. I was stuck in this myself at some point in time. So that's why this topic is so, like, for me, this topic is really important and very deep because I come up from a very immigrant household, and we were very price sensitive growing up. And I know what it's like to be on the other end, and I know when I was first starting out my business, I used to think like that. I was like, I will lose my clients. I will lose the sale if I do not cater to those clients. And I understand being in that stage, but ideally, there are also result-focused clients. Like I had a good mix of both, so I understand both sides of it. But what we really want to get to is getting the high-value clients to raise their hands. Basically, they are the ones in the auction. Since we are not running an auction every single time, we are trying to get them to say, yeah, I'm actually not able to. Probably you're saving me something in time, risk, um, or money, and but I have the cash to make this happen. And those are the clients you really want. How about yeah? So we're basically going to segment those clients. We want to let the high value buyers identify themselves. So, so in order to cater to those clients, there is a way to think about this, and there is a way to design our menu. Basically, you will be quantifying the benefits. What are they getting in with paying you that higher amount, paying for that premium option. So for them, it's not about the cost, right? Some of these buyers, ideally, we are trying to get those buyers for whom it's not about the cost. They have the cash, but they want to know that you're the person to do the job. And this is where a little bit of convincing comes in. This is where persuasion, psychology, convincing, a little bit of that comes in, and how you present yourself. Like I said, the anchoring is going to be the first and the most important thing through which they will see everything else. And in order to get those high value clients, you have to be able to show and prove um, or convince them, because they have to convince themselves how you're going to how they are going to get benefit out of it. It has to be in the form of time. It has to be in the form of like they won't make the mistakes that you probably made the mistakes and figured out. So some sort of risk, and or some sort of savings that they get. If it saves them, like I said, if a 10,000 seat gets me from New York to London, and I'm doing it for a big project that makes our company like 200K, that's not a big deal for me, right? So you have to convince those clients that this is totally worth it. So that's where a little bit of designing for these people comes into play. So some of the things we'll do here is you're going to anchor with a strong price. Like I said, that's where the lens of how they see you begins. Then make that premium option irresistible. Give them more value. Tell them like we will be giving XYZ, but also charge accordingly. The thing you don't want to do is keep that pricing low to the closer to the way you used to previously charge without having thought about this spectrum of charging. Also, signal exclusivity. You will get tailor-made XYZ for this value. Or you have to speak to the benefits of it in the benefits section while you're designing. Like I said, in the software design thing, um, they have they have like different benefits. You have to make sure that this will be exclusive, this will be something that they will get 10 times more value if they pick that option. Make it a no-brainer, basically. That's what I'm trying to say. Then you can attach dollar to every benefits. This is going to be a little bit more advanced, but it's kind of like we did for the airline upsells. For dynamic pricing, they can price it at a certain rate because it's seasonal, or they want to pick a weekday flight over a weekend flight, or like this is where like you can attach dollar to those benefits to some degree. Like if you want an expedited shipping for your customers, they want something urgently delivered. Let's say you're a freelancer, they want something urgently delivered in the next 2 weeks versus in a month. You can charge premium for that. So attach dollars to every benefits. Is it a time thing? It's a speed thing. It's a um, value thing, or it's a risk thing. If any of these things are being covered, they have no problem paying you the premium price. So that's where the VIP menu creation for them comes in. So show the menu, not just one price. I guess I'm just saying this again and again and again so that you can get you don't go into price wars with people, no copying others anymore, no more undercharging, no more single priced options, and don't allow them to get away with giving you extra hours, hidden things that you're doing, and you're not getting compensated for that. And yeah. So what does it give? Translate. Every benefit should translate into dollars in money saved, money earned, and time freed. So one more example here. This will be the last example, I promise. um, you can take a pill, or you can get the surgery done to solve a certain problem. One is slow, one is fast. One is cheap, one is expensive. And the pill companies make a lot of money because of that, because they know that if I were to save myself with like a chemo or a pill versus going through surgery, one has more risk, one has more involvement, one has more cost associated with it. So this kind of indicates that you're either saving them in time. The outcome has to be the same. You can either save them in time, you can either save them in money, or you can either save them in risk, and they will gladly pay the price for it. Now, this is where I get most of my pushbacks and resistance, and people telling me, but this won't work for me. This won't work for my clients. This won't work for my e-com product. This won't work for my brand. Um, what happens if they say, I'm too expensive? Why are you so expensive? Actually, this is where we'll address all those questions one by one. And let's go through this. Let's say if they say that you're too expensive. It's like, yeah, there is that option, and this is why we have all these things for the reason we are charging, right? Like once you have identified what you're charging for every single thing that you're doing, you're taking inventory of things. Basically, from the past few slides, we have seen what exactly are you doing for them. Then it becomes easy to handle those internal dialogues. But we need to catch ourselves when we are saying these things to ourselves. This is what keeps us trapped in this under earning cycle. But sometimes it's a matter of implementing. I know a lot of people who knows these things, but sometimes they just don't implement it. And I can promise you there are things that even in my own life to some degree, I probably haven't implemented to the max capacity. I'm sure I've changed a lot of things, but I know there is a much higher maximum if I can just tweak one more little thing. But a lot of people are actually not struggling with that. What they're actually struggling with is like, oh, I'll lose my client if I start charging. Yeah, maybe you lose your previous client, but it opens up space to charge and bring in other better clients. Because every time you say yes to these clients, you're saying no to the ones who are going to be the VIP customers. Okay? And let's say they say that you're too expensive. Instead of like, do not ever get, I would say, defensive. Always try to see it from their lens. What are they trying to do? The way to lower barriers and get them to confront what exactly, sometimes you don't even need the solution. Sometimes tell them you keep the money. If it is expensive, yes, it's totally expensive, you just keep the money. I don't need that, but you have to try to understand what exactly are they trying to solve. If they don't even need to solve anything, then don't undergo the surgery, don't give them the pill, don't take them through an expensive surgery to make stuff happen. So yeah, it is. If it's too expensive, just ask them what exactly are they hoping to achieve, and this should open up a dialogue. The whole point of dealing with our internal resistance is so that it can open up a dialogue which didn't happen before. And basically, we're trying to get them to uncover what would happen if they didn't solve this problem. Are they going to lose money? Are they going to lose customers to their competition? Are they going to lose clients? Like, what exactly is the things that they're scared of? And you kind of need to uncover that. Again, we're going to, instead of lowering price, we're going to see this from the lens of what value are we offering them? And let's say you don't want to lose your older clients and they are very resistant to the new prices that you have, because after this you're definitely going to see it in the form of like, I have to raise my prices, I have to change this, because once you start getting the good customers, this will definitely change your life. That's why I say this. My whole goal with today's presentation is you have to take away one thing that will help you change the price or the way you're currently seeing things, so that your pricing makes sense in the future. You don't want to become a commodity. That would be the worst thing. And if you stay pricing similar to how other people are pricing, at some point, someone new will come in and start a price war with you. And that's what we're trying to avoid. Um, so if you, let's say you don't want to lose your clients, you can offer them the iPad mini option. Give them the option to self-select and say, I want the iPad mini. Ask them, what can I do for you that will work within your budget? I mean, that's one way to do it. But basically, you want to give them the iPad mini option. At some point, they will self-select and either leave you and you will get the better high-end clients, or you can keep them and work within their budget. It's just that you will be draining a lot of resources, time, energy into these clients, which are actually push away clients to some degree. Um, I mean, that's just something I've seen from experience, something that keeps coming up, and I understand the fears around it. But once you start making money in a different way, you won't see this the same anymore. Again, you're by pricing on value and pricing on outcome, you are trying to show how much your work is worth. You're not trying to make your work into a commodity, something that's easily available. Either you can compete on volume or you can compete on value. And if you are able to show that you have higher value, then people will be willing to pay that premium price. There's always a McDonald's and a Starbucks in the same street, and both of them don't need to compete because they're going for different clientele. Um, and like I said, you will start seeing this in everything now that you go out and see. Because once I started seeing this, I was like, oh, I see it here, I see it there, I see it in everything that I was doing on a daily basis. So yeah, so this is going to be to some degree your takeaway today. Please break down your offers and packages. Start designing a menu for different clients and things that you're probably doing that you're not getting compensated for, but it's actually high value to the client. Sometimes it's just peace of mind. It's not even stuff that you're doing. You can probably give them some sort of guarantees. You can give them some risk-free trials. You can give them store credit. Mhm. Sometimes you want to segment the high value buyers. Sorry, you definitely want to segment the high value buyers. And um, this is one of the important things that I think I should go over is sometimes people are not able to do this in certain niche, and it's very very rare. Like if let's say you're an e-commerce company competing with like a product that is much cheaper on Amazon, then yes, that would be where you cannot create these tiers and probably get away with it. You cannot create like a fancy option and a cheap option, and when everyone knows you can just buy it on Amazon for a lower rate, like a Macy's and Amazon, they both can sell dresses, but There are certain things that are more commoditized, but there are boutique stores that are still selling like premium dresses that has a very different design or aesthetic, and it can work even in those hard to hard to sell niches. So sometimes it can be niche specific, but it's very rare. So if you see that there is a bigger company, a bigger uh, I guess seller selling it at a much more affordable rate, then that may not be the niche you want to focus on, even if you have previous clients from that, because that's probably why you're in this cycle of trapping yourself into earning less, wondering why you're not getting better clients, why you're not beating your profit margins, you're not having enough money for running ads, you're not having enough money um, for like making better decisions, having freedom, all those things. So sometimes it might be a niche problem, but it's very rare, and you will know that very soon when people don't pick the menu you designed. Then always, like I said, avoid. Help them, remind them of what value they're getting. Are they getting time saved, money saved, or risk free? Like they're getting something to avoid risks on their own. Um, so then highlight those things in the form of cost and savings. And you can even put a dollar amount into it. Think about it as McDonald's giving you all their products. You can buy them individually, but if you buy it as a meal or a happy meal or as a whole, I guess their package, it's much more affordable and it's much more appetizing for most people because they're like, oh yeah, if I would have bought this, it would have come out to so much higher cost. And that's how like they justify like, oh yeah, I would just buy the meal versus buying those things individually. So start I guess itemizing your current offering or the things that you are giving away um, in a single price. Again, we're going to do this to make those tiered offers after this presentation. Hopefully you have a way to create your business premium economy and economy class for the good, better, best clients. And yeah, I hope this action plan gave you something to think about. This is where I would be pausing and asking you guys to think about your own products or services and what exactly would you be doing differently to get those clients, to segment those clients, and create those offers. Here are some things you can use to think about that. Can I make it feel smaller? You need to show some sort of contrast. Like, can I give a smaller pack, medium pack, and the best pack? Okay. Can I make it feel cheaper by comparison? So it's a whole game of contrasting and comparing. Can I tie it to the benefits ROI, not cost? It's not the final price that they're paying. You need to tie it to whatever it is that's bothering them. What emotion does premium pricing buy? Does it make them feel like, okay, I've got this? I am going to save so much in money, so much in time. What exactly is the feeling that they get? Um, what bigger anchor makes it feel reasonable? This would be the first thing I would put, but I guess I put it last. So this will give you a list to compare it to or think about um, when you're designing your own pricing anchors and segmenting your audience. So this is pretty much more questions tied to a benefit. Can you break it down? And it's like more of the same things, but you kind of want to reinforce exclusivity, quality. You want to quantify the benefits to some degree. So yeah, I would say this is where I would leave you with. I hope I've given you something today in terms of action plans, some way to think about things, some things that will completely change your point of view. And every time you see it in next time you go out shopping, even on Amazon, you go out to get to your Starbucks, you will start seeing this and how they're pricing. So I don't want you all to play small anymore. I don't want you to play the guessing game of how much can I price. When you deliver value, you want to see the pricing and the profits and the things that comes along with taking that risk. And that's why I got into this. Pricing is a topic that I love. I can discuss this all day, every day. I grew up in a very immigrant household, so I know what it's like to be the cost sensitive buyer. And I have also been on the other side where I just buy the premium product because it just saves me so much. And yeah, I hope this will change your businesses forever. I hope you got something out of it. Typically, I would go into Q&A after this, but since this is a pre-recorded session, I would be asking you to leave any comments, any questions. I have a form on my website to fill out, so you can go through the questions and see what exactly is keeping you from pricing right now. What would be the benefits? Because you need to see some value in it too. Also, we need to work through that internal resistance that will come up. What exactly is holding me back? If you have tried other things, let me know. And my I will put a link to my my calendar. So if you want to book a call with me, we can take a look on your business, and then if you want to work one-on-one with me, we can choose to do that. If not, there is no obligation to work with me, but feel free to contact me. I've studied this for over 5 years with different businesses. If maybe B2B is not the thing that I typically take on in terms of helping out, because there's a lot more nuance in terms of the sales cycle, and I would probably not be the best fit for that. And yeah, if you have any questions, please feel free to message me, book a call with me, and let me know if you have changed anything, if this has helped you. I hope you got something out of it, one key takeaway, something that you can go and implement today.